What's up, boys? I'm back. Wow, I'm back, and I'm finally standing in front of a not black background. We finally have stuff, and we got books, we've got decorations, we have St. George. I'm kind of holding the microphone in a little bit of a scuffed way because I don't know where to set it up yet. I'll figure that out. Anyway, in my absence, a bunch of different things happened, guys. Like a lot of things. Nintendo decided that they hated their reputation of like the worst anti-consumer company in the video game industry. They needed to be even worse, and they've decided to just say, fuck it, $90 games that you don't own. Microsoft has decided, hey, we have this great lineup of tons of exclusive games, let's just cancel like all of them, Lamau. That'd be funny. And Sony has decided, like I and many other people predicted, that they are finally gonna go put their games on Xbox, because that's the obvious logical next step, right? I mean, we know, I've said this multiple times before on this channel, Sony does everything Microsoft does if it makes money, including porting their games to other platforms. Obviously, PlayStation fanboys are having a very rough time coping with this. Reforge Gaming has actually made a 30-minute long damage control video. Now, we're not going to watch the entire thing because I can't be bothered, but I have picked out certain clips of his very way too fucking long video that we are going to talk about today. So let's just get right into it.
3, 2, 1.
Got a blast!
As many people speculating and even concluding that this marks a huge change at PlayStation. Now, if you would take the time to look at things that Sony said just 30 days ago, this entire situation is a bit of a nothing burger.
Yeah, guys, Sony putting games on the Xbox, Sony putting their exclusive first-party games on the Xbox and potentially the Nintendo Switch is a nothing burger, okay? When Xbox did it, when Xbox started putting their games on PlayStation 5, Xbox was dead, right? Xbox is over, it's done, they're going full third-party, they're becoming the new Sega. That's what these guys said, at least. That's what the PlayStation fanboys said. But when PlayStation does the exact same thing, it's a nothing burger, guys. Okay? It's nothing burger. Let's just keep moving the goalpost, guys. Let's move that goalpost. Because when Sony does it, it's not an issue. It's perfectly fine. When Xbox does it, Xbox is dead, and Sony's won the imaginary plastic gaming box war.
But when the gaming news is slow, nothing burgers become feasts.
When the gaming news is slow. So bro, genuinely is that Sony putting their first party games, right? They're kind of famous for having like these amazing exclusives, I guess. Those games that their fans love so much, they're putting those games on their rival system. But that's just a nothing burger, guys. That's slow news. Let's just not even take a look at it. Doesn't matter. Okay, so for some reason, yeah, my camera just kept freezing during the entire rest of the recording of the video. So we're gonna have gameplay like old times. Yeah, enjoy. Hopefully next time the camera works properly.
Examine the job posting in light of that, because it's my estimation the job posting is simply a part of the existing strategy, not a mark of change. When Xbox was showing those signs of change, you had comments from Phil Spencer, the CFO, and then Satya Nadella. I'm applying the same form of criticism. Let's analyze what has been said from the men in charge and then make a conclusion.
Yeah, so Sony's confirmation that they're going to be putting games on Xbox essentially comes from the fact that they put out a job listing for someone to oversee projects being ported to Xbox. But because it's a job listing and it's not outright said by, I guess, the people in charge, it doesn't count. It doesn't count because the executives haven't talked about it yet. You know, with Xbox it counted because the executives talked about it. This doesn't count because the executives haven't talked about it. Although there is a job listing at PlayStation for porting games to Xbox. But you know, it doesn't count because the executives haven't specifically talked about it, guys. Because that's definitely how this works.
When it comes to the job, the actual description itself is where a lot of the concern came from.
I just want to point out that he calls it concern, not a lot of the speculation, not a lot of the news, no, a lot of the concern. He genuinely sees the idea of PlayStation games possibly being played by more people who bought a different plastic box as concerning.
People were fixating on the fact that it says multi-platform expansion, that the fact that it lists Xbox and Nintendo.
Yeah, guys, people are fixating on the fact that the job listing talks specifically about overseeing multi-platform games going to Xbox and Nintendo. I wonder why people will be fixating on that specific part. You know, because it's just such a nothing burger, right? Why would people be fixating on the part that the job listing is specifically about porting games to Xbox and Nintendo? That makes no sense.
They actually specifically outline what the multi-platform strategy part is in the job description itself. And here's what it says. Multi-platform strategy leadership. Oversee the out-of-year mid-range commercial strategy for PlayStation Studios titles across all non-PlayStation platforms, driving long-term revenue growth and audience reach. So this just reaffirms the existing strategy. Out of year implies a focus on future financial periods rather than the current or immediately preceding year, which sort of goes hand in hand with this being about long-term revenue and not games going day and date.
Yeah, guys, the games aren't going day and date, so it, again, doesn't count. It's not like that's the exact same way it is with Xbox. With games not going day and date to PlayStation, they always come out later on PlayStation, which means that PlayStation will be doing the exact same thing as Xbox is doing right now. But it's still somehow different, I guess. I mean, the only difference is that PlayStation isn't putting their games day and date on PC, except for when they are. So I don't understand how when Xbox does this, Xbox is dying, Xbox going third party, Xbox is becoming the next Sega. But when PlayStation is doing the exact same thing, with the only difference being that Xbox always puts their games day and date on PC and Sony only does it sometimes. The amount of mental gymnastics you have to do in order to, I guess, cope with the fact and be in such denial about the fact that Sony is going third party is insane. Genuinely, I don't get it. How can you be this loyal to a fucking plastic box you bought for way too much money? Yeah, so I fast forwarded through this part of the video because he spends like 5 minutes talking about how the executives, they haven't said anything about this. So obviously, if they haven't said anything about this, then the job posting is just a nothing burger, guys. Because if the executives a month ago didn't say specifically that they're gonna start porting games to Xbox, then it's probably not gonna happen, okay, regardless of what the job listing says, Lamau. Because that makes sense, obviously. They put out a job listing for people to port games to other platforms and then actually not do it. They were just pranking the guy that was applying to the job, I guess. I don't know.
Even within the multi-platform strategy that they are doing, they want their games to showcase the PS5 hardware. And he said they're very thoughtful about how they bring their games to other platforms. The emphasis there is on bringing, meaning like, hey, once they're out there, we're open to bringing them to other platforms.
Bro is basing his entire, I guess, idea of what Sony is doing on the fact that they said bringing instead of putting, I guess. And what else would they say? Yeah, they're bringing their games over to a different platform, I guess. But like, just because they used the word bringing doesn't mean that they're never gonna start doing that shit day and date. They've already been doing that. Helldivers 2, like I mentioned earlier in this video, right, came to PC day and date. So this is like kind of inevitable that this is gonna happen. Okay. You can't just base your entire idea that it's not gonna happen on the fact that they use the word bringing instead of some other word.
Hideaki Nishino, the CEO, he was asked about this. Did they feel the need to sort of pivot in the way that Microsoft has done? In a VGC article, he said, however, as I mentioned earlier, we are confident and committed to our current strategy, and there isn't an urgent need for us to pivot.
They have pivoted in the same way Microsoft has done. Like, name me one difference in Sony and Microsoft's multi-platform strategy that isn't just, I don't know, Sony sometimes puts their games day and date on PC and Microsoft does it every time. That's the only difference.
Now, people are thinking that a job posting is a stronger signal than Hiroki Totoki, Herman Holst, and Nishino himself.
Yes, because the job posting is showing exactly what they're doing or planning on doing, and they're just saying what they know people want to hear. Okay? They're not like, what is this? Like, oh, the job posting says one thing, but, you know, the executive said something else. And I believe the executives, because Sony executives are famous for never lying. Like, come on, man.
And also, if you read their comments and then you look at the fact that the actual job posting says these are for out of year, like games that are not currently in that day and date strategy, oh, well, they're going to look at them later on to see if they're profitable. But there's a bunch of theories that I'm going to examine here, all right? I want to be fair. I don't want to be dismissive, even though my instinct is to be very dismissive about this because this seems like such a nothing burger.
This is the guy, by the way, that believed like every single small Twitter rumor that was, anybody could have just tweeted out randomly like a release date for Starfield on PS5, and he would have believed it. That was the guy that constantly, every single day for like fucking 2 years or so, was saying like Starfield is definitely coming to PS5, like next month they're gonna announce it, and he believed that for 2 fucking years. He believed every single small like leak or whatever, but he can't fathom the idea that because PlayStation put out a job listing for games to be ported to Xbox, they might actually start porting games to Xbox. Like, what the fuck? Or I guess he can't fathom the idea of them doing it day and date, even though they've been doing it day and date with PC sometimes. But I guess, whatever.
So right now, many people are saying and signaling that, well, listen, if they're going to start doing this, then they're third party now. And what they mean is they're no longer focused on being a first party platform where you can only play their games there. Some people have even said, as soon as you start putting your games on other platforms, you're a third party.
Yes, because that's actually how it works. If you put your games on a different platform, you're a third party. That literally that's how it works. I'm sorry, if you put your games on multiple platforms, that game is now a multi-plat. And that makes you technically a third party. Because, you don't own the console that you're putting it on, so you're a third party. That's how that works, but whatever.
So, my thought on this is very simple. You can call them whatever you want. Whether you call PlayStation third party, second party, nothing party, it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is how the games are treated, which is why I go to the statements from Herman Holst and the rest of the guys there, because I think that is where they're signaling the value that matters to me the most. In my experience, in this gen, as well as all previous gens that I've played in, when a game is made specifically for a platform, I feel like I tend to get a better quality product. They're able to innovate more. They're able to add features that are specific to the platform.
Okay, this is bullshit because the current PS5 and Xbox are essentially just like very limited shitty PCs. What do you mean like specifically for the platform? I guess they could have like cool controller features because they have like DualSense. Besides that, the game's gonna run just as well, not even, maybe even better, usually even better on PC than on PS5. All the PlayStation games have come to PC, run better on PC.
Whether it's the DualSense or the way they handled some of the seamless things in Ratchet, yes, that was able to come to PC later, but at the time, they were able to focus on that specifically as a value point and a quality for the consumer.
Both those things would have been possible on PC. Just saying, the seamless thing, by the way, the seamless thing wasn't possible on PC because of the super powerful SSD of the PS5, which turned out to be complete bullshit. It's fully possible on any SSD, I guess, on any system. Same thing with the DualSense, that's the controller. All you need is software on the PC to make the controller work like that. Which, how difficult is it to port that software? It wasn't very difficult because they did it. If they wanted to, they could have had both those things ready on PC at launch, and they probably will in the future, just saying.
We also have many dev interviews where they say, listen, when we focus on one platform, we're able to do more, we're able to innovate more. You create a very, very nice synergy. I've even seen people do side-by-sides of games on the PlayStation and porting to PC, and they will concede that it's kind of an unfair comparison because the games are built for PlayStation.
This argument is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The games are built for PlayStation. What are the games built on? They're built on PCs, my guy. I'm kind of done with this coping bullshit. I think I'm going to end his video here. I mean, it's a 30-minute video, and it's 30 minutes of him coping and not being able to, I guess, realize that Sony is going third party, just like Microsoft is. Just like Nintendo probably eventually also will in like 10-15 years. But yeah, glad to be back. Gonna upload a lot more. And with that being said, please like and subscribe to the channel if you liked the video. And yeah, goodbye.